Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by the Lines and Play Picks, coming to you from Oakland, California. Josh Lander, as always, joined by my counterpart on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Another great article up on playpicks.com for you guys from Nate with everything you need for tonight's full slate. Just a quick reminder, if you do still need a FanDuel or a DraftKings account, head over to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Check out all those local listings in your area. As always, please like and subscribe. Jump in those comments for us. We had a good time last night. I particularly enjoyed the Wizards coming back, Nate, and covering that spread and actually winning outright against the Lakers. So let's see if we have a couple other gems in tonight's slate for the 23rd.
Absolutely. Let's bring you the research. We have the Hawks -7 at the Cavs, Pistons +3.5 at Magic, the Kings +7 at the Nets with a 242 total. The Warriors -2.5 at Knicks. Steph Curry tentatively expected to return. Sixers -1.5 at the Raptors. The Celtics -1.5 at the Mavericks. The Wolves are +11 at the Bucks, who are still without Drew Holiday. The Blazers now drop down to +6 at Nuggets. And the Wizards up to +11.5 after that overtime win last night. They're at the Clippers. They're staying at Staples Center. So that's intriguing. I know we like a couple of totals tonight. And I'm going to lead off with a team that we're just going to continue to target, the Cleveland Cavs, until they prove otherwise, that they have any interest in competing. They've just been the worst team in the NBA by far over their last 12. No covers. Over their last 8. A -20 net rating, a 123 defensive rating, and at home they've been even worse. They're averaging just 101 points per game with a -16 net rating in their last 6 home games. I'm really just liking the Hawks offense in this one. They were struggling for a while. I believe lost 5 straight, but they've won 2 of their last 3, and Trae Young has caught fire in those games, averaging 35.3 11.3 assists per game, shooting 61% and from the field and 47% from downtown. I like him to exploit a very exploitable Cavs defense and get to the free throw line routinely. I mean, he's going to score his points. The question is, will he get over 10 assists? I think so against this Cavs defense. And if he gets that double-double in a win, you're getting +106 odds at FanDuel. So I love that if you don't necessarily trust the 7.5 point spread that's rising. And on DraftKings, I'll just take the Hawks to go over 117. You're looking at a Cavs team that's giving up 126 their last 6 games, and I like Atlanta to stay hot offensively.
Yeah, the Atlanta offense is something to bet on here against an absolutely putrid Cavs team, who you mentioned is also just somehow playing as bad at home, if not worse, than they are on the road. Trae Young is someone to watch at this point. I think he's realized that he's not getting that help necessarily that may have been expected when they signed Bogdanovich, who hasn't been playing. Danilo's had his share of injuries, Rajon as well. So he's had to pick up a lot of the offense and is just really taking it on himself. So I like his props, and I do like the Hawks to score over 117 tonight. The Cavs just scare me to keep that over and being able to keep up pace to hit that over in the total game. But the Hawks 117 solo is a nice bet. Moving on real quick, Nate, to the team that's challenging the Hawks, the Cavs for the worst team in the NBA, and that is the Minnesota Timberwolves, as they visit Milwaukee, who, it's Milwaukee at home. I do like them against, it's a large spread over 10, 11 points or so, depending where you see it. And, they are 7-1 against the spread at home against the bottom half of the league, which the Wolves are very much in the bottom half of the league. And without D'Lo, Minnesota actually has dropped their pace a bunch. It makes sense without their, high scoring guard. They have actually upped their point total a bit without D'Lo, as he's been injured in the last 8 games, but they're still giving up the same amount of points. And really the unders for Minnesota has hit 4 out of their last 5. That's actually the same stat for Milwaukee, who without Drew Holiday is also not the same team on offense, which leads me to believe I feel pretty good about under 230.5 for these teams. It's a similar case with that Hawks-Cavs game. I don't think the Timberwolves can keep pace. There is the fear that the Bucks just drop 130 on them alone. But even without that, I think we can keep the Bucks under that total and Minnesota to barely get over 100. So I'm good with under 230.5 there.
I think there's an angle you're not seeing here, though, and I don't know what it's going to mean. But Ryan Saunders was fired yesterday, right, and
Yep.
immediately replaced. You never know how a team's going to respond. Whether they just want to come out and say, "Oh, it was the coach," like we're not terrible, and come out. So I don't have a problem actually taking the Minnesota to cover plus 11 or so at a struggling Milwaukee team. I think I might look at that as an angle rather than trying to play the total, which can be really erratic with the Wolves, as you mentioned. One team that we do both really love the total. This is, I think, both of our best bet tonight. If you can get it soon, it's rising. The Nuggets hosting the Blazers, who are on the second half of a back-to-back. The Blazers just had their worst loss of the season, 132-100. They could not hit anything from deep against a really good Suns perimeter defense, but the Nuggets, not so much. They're allowing opponents to shoot 40% from three over their last three. They're 1-4 over their last 5 games. Scoring a ton, though. Jamal Murray has come alive. They're averaging 118 points per game, and they're 5th in offensive rating in that span. I think we could see a good old-fashioned Jamal Murray, Damian Lillard duel, which would be very entertaining on top of making you some money if you get the over around 231 right now. Just some quick trends. The Nuggets are 10-4 against the over at home, 10-3 after a loss. The Blazers are 8-2 against the over when listed as road dogs, including last night. And they're 4-1 against the over when on a back-to-back. And yeah, they have the 3rd worst defensive rating in the league. And both these teams are top 5 in terms of free throw attempts allowed. So that's always key for getting you over the point total.
Yeah, I love those points coming from the free throw line, as you mentioned. I really love how both these teams play on the second leg of the back-to-back, as you mentioned. I think we can apply sort of that shooter's eye that, sometimes we like to see shooters on the second leg of a back-to-back after they've had one night to sort of see the basket and really get that depth and find their range. So I do like Dame to continue there. I have been pumping Jamal Murray recently on DFS as well, so that I could, pump a little bit of value out of him before he started getting back up to his sort of mean in terms of his play. So yeah, I'm going to stick with the over there. I do like, Portland. If you want to tease it up a bit and get a few more points for Portland, get that spread closer to double digits. I would feel pretty comfortable with that, like we said on the second leg of that back-to-back. And really what I'm looking for there is when Portland shoots well, over 40% or so, as predicted, right, they're much better. They win, about 90% of their games when they shoot over 40% or so. But and Denver gives up those points. So I think Portland can shoot their way into sort of keeping this game close tonight. So the other one, Nate, it's a game I'm looking at props all over the place. It's Brooklyn and Sacramento. We got burned in the first meeting betting that large over about 243, and then it didn't hit. A few weeks later, they played just about a week ago or so. They played, and that went well over again, that total. So we'll see what happens with these two teams tonight. But most importantly for me is James Harden's props, Kyrie's props without Kevin Durant in. I'm really liking both of them to make a bunch of threes, over 3.5 3-pointers for Harden, and over 2.5 threes for Kyrie. I think you can book those. And then I'm really going to stick with their points. I do love taking James Harden's, triple doubles, points, rebounds, and assists as he fills up the stat line. But I'm feeling most comfortable with the points tonight in that game, and for both of those guys to get over their totals, 27.5 for Kyrie and 28.5 points for Harden tonight.
Yeah, plenty of points to be scored in that one for sure. I kind of like the narrative here of the Kings covering. I think you're going to see that point spread creep up close to 10 after the Nets impressed everyone. They're the talk of the basketball world with that West Coast trip. But coming home, there could be a little bit of a letdown. This is a team that loves to let down the fan base. And the Kings have been darlings against the spread, especially on the road against good Eastern Conference teams. The Nets, I don't know where they're going to get any size if Jeff Green has to sit. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot also questionable. So I think that the Kings, who might get Harrison Barnes back, they can just attack inside, keep this game close enough, and cover a large spread. And just one more prop I like that's unrelated. Joel Embiid, 30.5 points. The Sixers, it's really gut check time for them after they got whooped by the Raptors on Sunday. They've lost like 5 straight against quality teams. They really have to come out and play inspired ball, and he's right now the MVP if they can start winning games.
Yeah, quick
Uh,
quick note there. I can't believe how well the Raptors are playing. They've played themselves back into a record above 500, which is incredibly impressive. Big wins over teams like Philly. Their last win, as they just met a couple of days ago. So definitely don't feel comfortable taking Philly over a surging Raptors team. But Embiid is tough to deal with, and there's no one on the Raptors down low to handle him.
mhm. And yeah, looking at DFS there, I do still like Nikola Jokic over Embiid at the as the pricey center to pay up for, just based on what we said about that game. You can obviously try to get Dame Lillard in there to make that a stack. I love Kawhi Leonard's floor against a really tired Wizards team tonight. What we mentioned about the Nets, they're going to have to go small. So I think you'll actually see Bruce Brown play a lot as a really good rebounding guard. Danny Green should play even more if Seth Curry is unable to go for the Sixers. And you're looking at CD Osman as one of the main weapons for the Cavs right now.
City.
Cheers to that. I mean, the Hawks have also been terrible on defense, so there's no qualms about stacking that game a little bit and hoping for it to stay close.
Yeah, I think per the trend of this year's NBA, we're going to continue to see some nice offensive performances from some individuals helping our DFS lineups majorly. I know we'll be playing some head-to-head night tonight, Nate, and we'll be back tomorrow with another show and another opportunity for a gift card. So make sure you are liked and subscribed on our page, and check back to jump in the comments. As for tonight, y'all, we'll be back, as I said, tomorrow, and we'll be checking everything for you guys tonight. Stay on us. Happy betting.